Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to
episode 10
of Gaia and Sarah.
Save the World.
It's Halloween.
Yeah.
So on today's episode, we are answering questions from you guys.
We thought it would be really cool to do an episode where we put out like an opportunity for people to ask us questions about maybe topics that they want more information on or anything that maybe we didn't cover. So we're literally just answering the questions.
Yes. I'm gonna let her in here. Also my dog.
Also.
Marty wants to answer questions. Okay, so before we start answering questions,
shout out to Bestival and Taylor for making this amazing cider that we have made super extra for the show now.
yes. Cheers to 10 episodes.
And fucking Halloween.
Yes, and all of you guys for supporting our show. Cheers.
Now we're gonna drink out of straws out of like wine glasses. I just smashed my tooth.
It's so good. I want to chug it.
Oh my god.
It's so good. I honestly...
Well, I just drank half of it.
It's so fucking good.
And vegan whipped cream, like this is like, what world are we living in? It's just so good.
Yep.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Okay, so
should we dive into questions?
I think we should.
Ultimately, how do you think we can make things equal and fair?
Dismantle the patriarchy, step one.
That's definitely step one. I think that's a really complicated process.
Yeah.
I don't think there's even like one answer to that.
And I don't necessarily think there's like a right way to go about anything.
No.
I think that we're all just kind of making guesses at this point. But I think that it's looking at where the inequality lies within our, I don't know, like our whole society.
Yeah.
And tackling that. Because when you like revoke like privilege and stuff like that and start to like look at things on an equal plane, then you can see, okay, well, how drastically different is that from our reality?
Right.
What needs to change? And then I guess like the hardest question I think with like activism is like, what can people do to actually,
right, how can you have an actual impact? Because you definitely like should live your best life and like make day-to-day good decisions with empathy and compassion for people around you. But how do you contribute to this bigger change? That's a really complicated question. I think it depends on which issues you feel the most tied to and pulled to, and maybe try to connect with 2 or 3 of those.
Yes.
And put your time, effort, and if possible, financial resources towards that.
And unfortunately, so much of our life is dictated by our government. So once you know what your 3 causes are and you have put the time in to get educated on them, then you can start looking at how the certain candidates that are running, like how they feel about those issues too. Because the thing about like where we're at least right now in the United States, it should be so just obvious that with our next election, every single person that can vote needs to be voting.
What I was going to say is, I would say step 1 is if you are able to vote, vote.
Vote. Fucking vote. Because, and especially if you're like in like a place of privilege, like white men, you need to be voting about things that matter outside of you.
Right.
Like women, minorities, you know, people of color, transgender, whatever.
Right.
Like these people whose lives are never at like where yours is at, you have the power to actually make things better for them. So it's important to step outside of yourself, educate yourself so that you can make better decisions to affect everyone else.
Yep. I think we need reform on a lot of levels, in a lot of ways, in all different capacities, and we're on the way. I think we are making progress, even though I think this last election, you know, since 2016, it's been really easy to feel like we're going backwards, and in a lot of ways, I have a hard time feeling like we aren't going backwards, but we just have to keep working towards it.
Yes.
It was kind of vague, but kind of
So I
not
think the
being.
steps were pick your 3 causes, get super fucking educated on them, and then check out political parties, how you can find out about each candidate so you can vote.
Yes. Yep.
Where do you see yourselves in 10 years? Oh, that's so hard for me.
It's hard for me too.
Yeah.
I have a 5-year plan, but I don't really have a 10-year plan.
I don't know how to answer that question only because like looking at like what my life has been, I have decided to go on a lot of different paths like every couple years. So I kind of feel like with me it's impossible to tell.
I feel like 10 years is so long that a lot of the things I have in my life right now could be gone. Like,
yeah,
you know,
you never know what can be different.
Yeah.
I think like at least on a vague level, hopefully, you know, still art related for me. I don't really know about anything else because it really just depends.
Yeah, I mean, I see myself being, you know, more well-traveled than I am now.
Yes.
You know, I think I will still be involved in fitness and involved in community-driven fields and helping people. You know, I'm pretty focused on that in my daily life, and I don't think that's going to go away. But yeah, I have some 5-year goals, but I don't really have 10-year goals actually.
I mean, even down to where we live, we talk about changing that all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yep. So TBD.
Not sure. Worst time you got your period.
Oh God. I want to be like every single time, but I know that's, I don't know. Lots of vacations. I tend to always get my period when I travel, even if it's way out of my cycle, and it'll be like, you've landed from your flight. Guess what? You know, that happens a lot. I'm trying to think of a specific time. I think there were worse ones when I was younger because, pro tip, I use a Diva cup and I don't really have a lot of period issues anymore because of that.
I still haven't found one that feels right for me.
The one I'm using now is the Flex one.
I don't know which one I use.
So it's actually not a Diva cup, but it's like black and I like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I know.
I'm trying to think if I have any like crazy period stories. I mean, I used to do go-go dancing like a couple times a month, I think, where I was basically just in my underwear.
Yeah.
So probably like any of those times just being like, what's gonna happen? Is it gonna be like a volcano like going down my leg?
Right.
Like,
yeah, I can think of a lot of times like mid-workout, like I'm running and there's like a distance goal or whatever and I can't stop and I'm like, all right.
Wait, I've gotten my period in the middle of having sex.
Oh my God.
Like, oh, okay. Guess that's happening.
Sorry. Not really.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of getting older? The idea of death, it freaks me out a lot. I actually feel like my relationship with a fear of my own mortality has changed recently. Like I used to be pretty, not extreme, but pretty much an adrenaline junkie. Like I love being up high and like roller coasters and stuff like that. And now I'm afraid of all of that stuff.
You know, I've actually heard that can happen. Like people that participate in like dangerous behavior in the younger years then switch into the opposite when they get older.
Oh yeah. We went hiking in Iceland and I was like so pumped to climb up this mountain and we got really close to the top and I just couldn't finish. Like I was petrified. And when I was like 20, like 10 years ago, I would have been like, hell yeah, I would like run up it, you know? I'm so afraid of that. As far as getting older, so far I love getting older.
Yeah, that's the weird thing is like, especially for women, society makes you like fear getting older because your value supposedly shrinks because it's so tied to your appearance and the patriarchy and all that stuff. But honestly, like the second half, I've said this I think on a previous episode, but on the second half of 29, this weird wave of calm came over me.
Yep.
Where like I just kind of almost like settled into myself and I was just like,
And I've heard that's even deeper, like in your 40s.
I've heard that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't think getting older really freaks me out about just the number, but I think like potential health issues down the line, especially when you look at like your genetics and like what you're predisposed to, like dementia and stuff is like really prevalent in my family. So, I mean, I do a lot of things that can help with that, but I'm always scared, like, am I going to be like the woman from the Notebook that can't remember anything of her life?
Oh, that'd be so scary.
So, yep, that's a fear.
Yeah, I guess I'm afraid of very old age because I'm afraid of not being able-bodied and stuff like that.
It's about not being in control for me because that's like the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah, very scary.
This one. What's the first thing you notice about a person?
I don't have a default first thing.
I think like their mannerisms.
Yeah.
Like the weird things that make them in their movements, if that makes sense, or maybe the way that they stress certain words.
I don't think I notice, like if something stands out about their mannerisms, I'll definitely notice that first. But I don't think I have like I always look in people's eyes right away. Like I don't really have a thing like that.
I'm like really uncomfortable making solid eye contact with people when I first meet them. So I don't know. I think height, because I'm so short.
Oh yeah.
Like that stands out to me a lot.
I don't know.
Well, also I can like pick up on people's energy. Very fast.
I guess what keeps coming to mind is like when creepy people come around, and I'm like, well, I notice when they're creepy, and when they're not.
Yeah. I've had instances where like people that I met only for like 10 minutes, like I immediately got a whole read on like their energy, and I couldn't explain it, and I was just like, nope, no to that person. And almost every single time, like as time goes on, it's proven to be true. So like, I really do trust my instincts about people. Like if I meet someone and I feel really off, I'm just like, goodbye.
See ya. Can a toxic friendship be as bad as a toxic relationship? And what are the signs of a friendship becoming unhealthy? Very important.
This is really important.
Yes, absolutely. I have been in a couple of toxic friendships that I almost had to have like friendship breakups, just like romantic relationship breakups. You can have codependent types of relationships even with friends, and friends can like demand things of you that aren't appropriate. Like you can have all that fucked up shit from romantic relationships can basically take place within your friendships. Absolutely. You can also have friends who have really unhealthy lifestyles, and you have to kind of remove yourself from that, even if you love them and love everything about them. Every situation's different, and I can't assess situations I don't know, but I have had some friends who were just involved with stuff that I had to be like, I'm sorry, like I've got to cut ties. And that's hard. Yeah. But yeah, you definitely can, and I think that the way that you can check is how you feel. Do you feel drained? Do you feel like you're always rescuing them? Do you feel like you always give and you don't really receive that much? Are they asking more from you than you're receiving from them? Or are you able to ask the same things of them that they are able to ask of you? Yes. And, you know, are you surrounding yourself with people who elevate you? That's another thing, is I feel like we underestimate how much we are actually influenced by our friends. Absolutely. Because you can have very lofty goals, but if everyone around you is just kind of complacent, then it's much harder to be on a course towards achievement. And not that that has to be everyone's priority, but just as an example. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't know. You just gotta check in with your friendships too, for sure. Absolutely. As a model, do you worry about aging? I mean, I don't do like agency modeling or like anything that's like traditional, so like not really. Like obviously, like I don't think I'm gonna be doing photo shoots when I'm like 85. Maybe that would be sick. I mean, actually, maybe. That would be cool. I've loved seeing more representation of older women as models. That's like even in fucking Target, like I saw like a woman in her 60s in her underwear as an ad. That's actually really fucking cool. And I was like, I know that Target is a giant evil corporation, but also this makes me so
Yeah.
happy. Like, it made me so happy.
Well, that's why I try to like not hide the fact that I'm 30 and I'm going to be 31 soon when I talk about stuff online, because people basically think that like after you're 25 you die as a woman.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, I don't really think that because I don't like, I guess I can't say like the majority of like my life and income is based on modeling solely, because it's so many different things. But I don't know. I don't think that makes me feel weird. Like, I think like if something happened that was like sped up the aging in my face, I think I'd be pretty bummed about it. But if it bothered me that much, I'd probably just get something done if I wanted to.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of ways to deal with it if it's truly like an aesthetic thing that bothers you. So, yeah.
Okay. It's asking
to go into specific fetishes that you or your partners have had and how to do or handle them, kind of as a follow-up to our sex episode.
Yes.
So I think this kind of sounds like, how do you handle a fetish from your partner? Either how do you to have that discussion in the first place, or how do you handle it if maybe it's not your same cup of tea?
For me, I think that I had to like almost like break up with some of my fetishes, because I realized where they came from, and just because they can be really like fun, I felt like in the long run they were like psychologically damaging me more. So having that conversation about like, I don't want to do these things anymore, and then also being like, and because I don't want to do these things, I'm not comfortable playing out these things like for your benefit, you know?
Yeah, I think for me, as lame as it might sound to say, but it was like kind of a phase, you know, like just like stuff to work through. And I think there were deeper reasons behind it, but it just sort of phased a lot of things out of my life. And I don't know, I think I've had partners that I guess that had a couple things I was uncomfortable with, but I've always felt pretty comfortable in healthy relationships to be like, nah. But I don't know.
I think you just have to have a lot of honesty with the person that you're either sleeping with or dating. Yeah. Like right off the bat about anything, because you don't ever want to be like in the middle of, I mean, it can happen, but in the middle of something and being like, no.
Actually, that's a big no.
Actually, no.
No.
Yeah. Okay, this person said, I know there was a sex episode already, but I feel like women who don't like to have sex or feel no need for sex should be talked about more.
I definitely agree that that should be talked about more. However, I don't have that perspective. So if anybody, you know, wants to give input on that, like, I'm interested to hear it, but I personally don't like know that perspective. However, I do know there's a lot of people who feel that way, who are asexual or aromantic and aren't interested in those kinds of things. And yeah, I think there's a ton of value. We kind of talked about this in the romanticism episode, but there's so much value put on sex. Like, it's so important. Yeah. It's really not. Like, it can be amazing and it can be really important, but I think there's kind of a societal pressure and something that comes from romanticism directly to feel like sex isn't necessary to have a really deep connection with somebody.
And it's really not.
Yeah.
I have friends who identify as asexual, and that's the closest I can come to understanding that. And I've asked them questions like, well, how do you feel in this scenario? What do you mean you don't feel this? Because like just trying to understand. And the most input I've ever gotten from them is that the way that like you and I in the past have talked about like craving sexual energy and attention from someone is how many of my asexual friends feel about pure emotional intimacy. And just not that they're necessarily opposed to sex, but that it's not something that they're pushing in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard from people I've met too.
Yeah, and I can't understand because that's not me, but I definitely do think that there should be more talks about that.
Absolutely.
Because I think that we do live in a weird hypersexualized world where sex is looked at as so important and it's really not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically they're saying like anxiety and fear of being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think that's like what I'm reading. I think that usually stems from yourself.
Yes.
Like, when you do, like, inner work on yourself and figure out, like, where that anxiety comes from, maybe it's, like, a shame that you hold, you know, about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When you work through that, you don't project it onto people around you and, like, convince yourself that people are thinking bad things about you, because that's really what it is. It's projection.
Right. And when you have had a past experience where you've been mistreated and you've had your trust broken, it is really hard to trust somebody again.
Oh, yeah.
And you shouldn't, you know, trust somebody before you're ready and you're allowed to take your time. But just know that you are amazing, and, you know, you don't have to feel anxious just from interacting with people and letting your self-worth kind of take a hit because of the way someone else treated you. Like, that's on them. For me, I used to have really, really bad social anxiety, and the way I got over it was, like, I don't know if this is the right way for everybody, but, like, head-on confrontation.
Yes.
Like, I worked as a server to pay for college. Then I went into the fitness industry where all you do is get vulnerable with people. And then I worked at a bar. I worked filming weddings where it's really high stakes. I did a lot of really, really social stuff, but it was all through work. So there was almost like a kind of a extra barrier, an extra wall up, where it wasn't necessarily like having to be personally close with people, but still learning a lot of social skills and learning how to feel calm and collected under, like, social strain.
Yeah.
So even though it was through work, it taught me a lot of skills that helped me in my, like, interpersonal life, like my private life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, like, just meditating before I know I'm going to, like, social things helps me a lot, because I do get really weird around, like, big groups of people, especially if there's, like, a lot of men there, because I just don't feel safe around men. So meditating before, so that you can bring all your emotions down to, like, a normal level.
Yeah.
And just breathe. Like, deep breathing is so helpful.
It is.
Like, it sounds weird because it's so simple, but it, like, doing deep breathing for, like, 20 to 30 seconds before you go into any situation you're like a completely different person.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Shining or Friday the 13th, explain one and why.
Younger me probably would have said Friday the 13th, because I loved, like, slasher movies when I was in high school, but now probably The Shining.
The Shining 100% for me.
Shining is really fucking cool and, like, psychological.
That's what I love about it, is because it's not like some outside, like, weird thing.
Yeah.
It's literally your fucking family.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's stuff that's not related to, but I don't know. I think the terror in that is that it's some of it is the familiar.
It's very unsettling.
Yeah.
And it's, like, multi-layered. Like, there's a lot going on in it that you can't really understand, like, at first watch, or maybe even without reading the novel. I don't know.
Yeah.
I also just don't like slasher killer movies anymore. I don't like any kind of torture movies anymore.
I do if they're, like, really, like, almost cheesy. Cause
cheesy's okay. Like, when they're, like, serious, I'm just like...
When I watch the Halloween movies, because that's my favorite horror movie, it doesn't register in my head as, like, a lot of people are getting stabbed or anything like that, because it's so, like, not realistic to me.
Yeah.
And you talk about the negative stigma around dressing sexy for Halloween.
Fuck that. Dress how you want.
Okay, so I feel like there's actually, God, my freaking, like, mummy wrap.
I feel like we could actually answer this for, like, 6 hours, because we've had a conversation about this for, like, 6 hours straight multiple times.
I think there's two parts, too. So I think there's the part where women feel pressured to only dress in I'm saying this as my boobs are here, to dress in, like, a sexualized character.
And women are objectified.
Yeah. But then there's the other side where women are criticized if they want to look, like, revealing or sexy or whatever.
Or if they feel empowered by that.
And this is part of the game is rigged. You don't win no matter where you stand, because we live in a patriarchy.
Yep.
So I think that you just have to decide, like, for me, when I decide, like, for characters and stuff, I go, who do I want to be? And then I go, how do I want to present that? And I don't feel obligated to do it in a super feminine or sexually charged way. But I also feel like I don't have to do it in a completely covered type of way either. But, like, when I do costumes and stuff, there's no thought in my head of, like, how do I make my body look the best that it can look, and how do I be appealing to men? Because as we've talked about a million times, like, I don't give a fuck about what men think. But if I want to, like, go out with my fucking, like, ass hanging out, like, I'm sorry, it's my ass. Like,
right.
Who's gonna beat my ass? No one.
No one. Yeah. I think it's do what feels good to you. Obviously, there's going to be people who will judge that and feel certain ways about that because our society is stupid.
Yeah, our society's like, let's over-sexualize women, and then we're going to punish them when they, like, do it. It's fucking stupid. Don't play the game.
Don't. Advice on how to go vegetarian, vegan when you don't have the option to buy your own food and have to just eat what's given and what's around. Okay, so this is a multiple part one. So part one, I am very lucky that my mom is a longtime vegetarian. She's vegan now. She's been vegan like almost as long as I have, so like 10 years or something. So I was always raised with lots and lots of options. However, I think do the best that you can. I was a vegetarian for 3 years before I was vegan, and then when I finally went vegan, it was like overnight, but that was from being vegetarian, so it was still like, I still took baby steps. And you know, if you don't have control over that, then you can't be really hard on yourself about it. Try having those conversations though with the people in your household who are buying the food. You can come at it from different perspectives because there's lots of benefits to it other than,
a ton.
You know, sometimes unfortunately appealing to animal rights doesn't work with everybody, but appealing to personal health can actually help
I feel like
a
that's
lot.
the one.
Because
it's usually the best.
Yeah, so you know, if everybody's going to be healthier from making those choices, then that's a lot more motivating than, you know, people unfortunately aren't always going to care about the cows. And
well, I think that's what sucks is like older generations, I hate to be stereotypical, but it's true, they are not educated on proper nutrition because it's not taught to us. And even if you go to doctors in the United States, they don't receive any kind of education on nutrition.
That's exactly right.
They don't. So you really shouldn't be getting advice from your doctors.
Right. They also don't receive education on how similar animals are to us, you know? So they really are not working with the same knowledge base that you probably are. So
that reminds me, keep going.
Try to find, you know, something to make it motivating for them, even if it has to have selfish motivations for them. And that can work. Also, when you do have an opportunity, maybe say like, oh, I want to cook once a week, you know, and see if you're able to cook for everybody and make some really dope recipes.
I'm going back because I just remembered I got another question from someone that I know who asked about this.
Okay.
She said that she's unable to go vegan because she has anorexia and her doctors and parents won't let her because they have a stigma about people being vegan and not getting enough nutrition. The question is how to educate doctors and people in the eating disorder community that you can still get all the nutrition and be vegan.
Okay, that's a great question. We should put a link in the description. There's a really great YouTube channel called Mike the Vegan, and it's MIC, like put a mic on the vegan, but his name is Mike. But he does like literally like anything you could ever think of. He has like a scientific video for explaining the health benefits.
There's so many health benefits.
Yeah. But unfortunately, this is something that does have a real stigma for a reason, because a lot of people who are anorexic or orthorexic have kind of used veganism, which is already a restrictive diet, to kind of mask that. So it gave it a really bad name. And plant foods, like if you're eating vegetables and fruits, those are naturally really low calories. So you have to eat in bigger volumes, but that's great because it can help you feel really full. You know, it can help you feel sustained. So yeah, I mean, talk to them and maybe try to show them some information that's actually like backed up by research and by studies so that it will make sense to them.
Also, Google things like what I used to do for like gaining weight was I'd Google 1,000 calorie vegan gain shake.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of vegan bodybuilders out there that have to eat thousands and thousands and thousands of calories and they do it. So you could do 1,000 calorie vegan pizza, stuff like that. There's recipes like all over the internet. And then on top of that, like if you want the quick, easy education breakdown, There are so many vegan documentaries on Netflix. Like, if you're trying to show your parents, just sit them down with Netflix and put on Forks Over Knives or What the Hell, like Cowspiracy.
Right.
You know, all of these things. They talk about the nutrition involved, and you can seriously do vegan just as calorie dense and unhealthy if you wanted to, as you do a normal diet. I'm kind of like a vegan junk food person, unfortunately. So like, I know for a fact you can eat thousands and thousands and thousands of calories of vegan food. It may not be all healthy, but you can. Right.
And you can make it one of the healthiest possible diets as well. And that's cool, especially in 2019. You can eat across the spectrum of food. Yeah. It's cool.
And then also, I guess my personal advice with the doctor thing is doctors are not nutritionists.
They're not.
So you shouldn't even be getting nutrition advice from a doctor. They're literally talking out of their ass.
Oh, the second part.
Oh, yeah.
So how to work on self-esteem, confidence, and comparing yourself to others body-wise and accomplishment-wise. This is hard.
It is hard.
Honestly, probably you cannot completely stop doing it. But just know that you're comparing yourself to somebody else without, especially online, you don't know anything about them. You don't know how long they've been working towards what they're doing. You don't know if they're lying and faking it. Like, you really don't know the whole story. So try to focus on yourself. For me, again, I'm in the fitness industry, so there was a period of time where I followed like a ton of fitness accounts, and I had to really diminish that because it was making me feel horrible about myself. Without even knowing, like, not looking at the photo being like, oh, this makes me feel bad, but just looking at it, the side effect, even though I wasn't consciously thinking it, was to feel worse about myself. So limit the content that you follow that makes you feel bad. Pay attention to your feelings when you're scrolling through your feed. And if you notice a twinge of not feeling good, or thinking like, my stomach doesn't look like hers, which is a big one for me, you know, like, just be like, that's actually not healthy for me. And start following accounts of, what I did was follow accounts where it shows all kinds of body types.
What was that account? Sunday
Morning View is a really good one. It's so good. It shows all kinds of women. They like repost stuff, but it's very curated of just body positivity.
Also, like, the mute feature, like, this is something I like to talk about.
Yeah, if it's someone you know in real life.
Use the mute feature. Like, it doesn't even have to be that they're like a bad person, because I think I've got like 2/3 of everyone I follow muted on all social media. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're like bad people, but it's because they post stuff that I, you know, either don't agree with, or it triggers me, or I don't know, I think it's like dumb or something. You know, there's like different reasons. Like, if you like participate in certain things, or like, I don't know, maybe you hang out with toxic people, I don't want to see them. So stuff like that. So the mute feature is good, and then building your own confidence, I really think is, I don't know, I feel like taking a break off social media. I'm telling you, I've said that so many times, but like, getting into like the real life and separating from the digital world will help you be grounded.
Yeah, take time to focus on what truly matters to you and what you really want. Go back to our very first episode about quick fixes. We talk about that a lot. But getting really, really like level with yourself and centered with yourself. This is so nerdy, but I have like a master document of my goals for the year, and I revisit it each month, and then I compare quarter by quarter how close I am, and I scratch things off. Like, I have like ultimate areas of focus, but then I have like small goals, and I'll like cross out and be like, that ended up not mattering to me, you know, because if you don't measure your goals, then you can't really stay on track for them. So if you have like the concrete numbers in front of you at how close you are towards whatever your goal is, not that it has to literally be represented by numbers, but however it's measured, then seeing somebody else online who's already there and already accomplished it doesn't hurt as bad when you know you're on that path too.
Yeah, and I think that's also important because like, I think a lot of times like envy towards people comes from not working on yourself enough, because
and just being kind of lost.
Yeah, because like, I used to be like really guilty of that, where I would see people doing like similar things to like what I want to be doing, but be way further along, and I would feel immediate like anger towards them. And I had to unpack that. And I'm like, okay, they obviously started this before I did. They've put the time in. They deserve to be where they're at.
Right.
Like, it's a lot of times it's rationalizing and realizing like, okay, well, this tells me something about myself. This is something that's important to me. I'm going to create a structured goal so that I can stop feeling this way.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Gaia, are you still thinking about writing a book? This is like on my like giant list of like, I should probably do that. So I want to, but I don't know if I actually will. I have a lot of hang-ups about it because like I kind of want to write like a book about my 20s. But if I were to do that, there's a lot of stuff in it that would be incriminating to other people.
Yeah.
So like I'd have to do so many like identity changes.
Huge undertaking.
Of like a lot of people. And I also feel like even if I still did it that way, there's a chance that there could be, I don't know, potential danger to come my way. Like it's part of the reason why like I haven't come out about like my like Me Too story. Because I actually fear for my safety if I do.
Yeah.
So I want to write.
I'll read it.
I'm a little scared. But I guess I could write about something else.
That'd be cool. Write a mummy book.
Yeah. How to be a mummy.
Mummy memoir.
How to be a glamorous mummy. What was your cringiest or embarrassing young emo goth moment?
Oh my god.
There's
so many.
Maybe just like age like 14 through 20.
I can think of a specific picture of myself. Like I'm pretty sure I posed like this up against a truck.
A truck?
A truck that had the letters S and M on the side.
Oh my
like
god.
A black and white photo.
Do you still have it?
I don't know. I need to fucking find it.
I need to see that.
I also used to like write on all my clothes like song lyrics. Like on all of my clothes. Like I had like pants that had like huge letters written like all the way down it. Like lyrics.
Oh my god.
Like that's pretty cringy. And I would wear them like every day.
You're like,
these are the pants with the lyrics that I have to have on my body. I don't know.
I used to take photos of myself crying.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some
like,
of those.
I have a lot of photos from my teenage years where I'm wearing like...
I'm having a breakdown photo shoot.
Yeah, just... like, seriously, like, I have some of them still from my live journal. Where I used to wear like black liquid eyeliner and cry all the fucking time and just have my digital camera out just like...
I think my live journal is my cringiest emo goth moment. All you have to do is read it and never do that, please.
Yeah, it's... Sometimes I go back and
some of the things I've written, we should do a live reading of...
I would be like crying from laughing because it's seriously so awful.
Yeah.
What's your favorite vegan Halloween treat?
I don't know. I don't love sweets.
I love gummies. That's my thing.
This is my favorite.
Yes.
Are there like pumpkin Sour Patch Kids? Because I would love that.
I don't know. I just know that there's like those rope things or like they look kind of like tongues or whatever. I don't really know how to fucking describe it. But sour gummies for me because now there are like vegan versions of like everything.
I got some in Iceland that were sick.
I love
They were like
gummies.
shaped like dinosaurs. I was like, I'm moving to Iceland today.
Yes. Oh, that's cute.
There's every year I almost buy vegan Halloween like box of chocolates that's like really expensive and I haven't bought it yet, but I feel like I will one day.
Like you will soon.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other like Halloween stuff like, oh my god, this is like irritating my neck.
Well, I really like pumpkin pie.
I wish I liked
pumpkin
spiced
pie. Tea, like
I like cider. I like apple pie.
I love apple pie.
You know what? I guess I don't like that much stuff because I don't like pumpkin spice flavoring.
I don't like pumpkin spice flavored like lattes or anything.
No, I think they're sour and weird.
I think it's just burnt and gross.
I don't know.
It's not for me.
Are chai drinks considered like a fall Halloween thing?
I could see that.
I'm obsessed with chai lattes.
Yeah. Oh, I like pumpkin seeds.
Oh yeah, pumpkin seeds
really
are
like pumpkin
super
seeds.
fucking good. So someone wrote us and they were saying that they experienced something called like friendship burnout. Saying that they get super overwhelmed with maintaining relationships with friends because they're a stay-at-home mom. And they don't have the mental energy to keep up with everyone's lives and to carry them extra mental baggage. And that their friends often make remarks about how they're bad at making plans and texting and asking. They're basically just inquiring about, is friendship burnout a thing? How can I maintain friendships without feeling heavy and clouded by their drama?
Yes, it's a thing.
It's very much a thing, and it's usually a thing if you're not friends with people that are like on your level.
People should have therapists, and then they won't need you all the time.
Yeah, like I think like what's so great about when you have a healthy like friendship social circle is that your friendships are actually about your friendships and not playing therapist for each other.
Yes, my most long-term and closest friendships with each of these people, I've gone like months without like physically being able to hang out. Like I've gone periods where I wasn't even good at like keeping in touch with some of my friends, but now I'm much better at that. But no, like the physical demand to like be present in the same space together, like,
and to hear someone's like weekly dump of problems,
right? For it always to be like venting all the time, stuff like that. I think that for me has got improved as I've gotten older, and I have been able to like meet more people who have their own like life and priorities and stuff. But I don't know. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you have your hands so full already. Like, it sounds like, you know, your friends need to be respecting your boundaries more.
That's the thing, is I don't think we're taught boundaries within friendships, and like that whole like mental dumping thing on people. That's a result of people thinking that your friends are supposed to be your therapist.
Yeah, absolutely. We use our friends as therapists, you know, and I didn't learn how not to do that until I got a therapist.
Me too. Yeah. And then once you learn, you start seeing it so much in other people where you're like, oh God, please just get a therapist.
And you realize how much more effective having the exact same conversation with your therapist is versus having it with your friend, because your friend loves you and they're going to indulge you and they're going to be like, oh no, he didn't. Whereas your therapist is going to be like, well, why? You know, they're going to help ask the right questions.
Yes.
Whereas your friend, even having the best intentions, isn't going to sit there and ask the right questions because they don't have a decade of training on how to do that.
Yeah, like your friends are not professionals with advice.
Right.
So it's kind of pointless to like fall on them over and over again.
Yep.
So yes, friendship burnout is a thing if your friends are demanding too much from you.
Absolutely.
And I know there's no nice way to say, I think you should probably get a therapist. I've been in that position before. It's really awkward to say, but I also feel like, you know, when you really care about someone, you are truthful with them.
Right.
You know?
Yep. Sorry you're going through that.
Yeah.
I know that's
we
rough.
all know how that is.
I get told I'm pretty a lot, but I don't feel it and I don't believe it. Do you guys have any tips on how to feel pretty and how to believe it when someone tells you you are? How do you be confident? That's tough. I definitely have ups and downs with that for sure. But I think most of the time I feel like putting less weight on my appearance.
Yes,
helps.
I think that's like number one.
Yeah. So knowing, finding out just from other people's comments, like, you're conventionally attractive. Like, I don't know. That's like cool.
Like, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think like for me, it's like, I don't know. I think because I started doing photo shoots, and when you do photo shoots, everything is about how you look, and it's to create this like professional like end result.
Right.
Then you post it, and then everyone tells you like, "Wow, you look great," and stuff like that. I think because I did that so much, I got to a point where I was like, I know that I can look really great. I know that. But what value does that hold to me?
Yeah.
And especially when you are a woman and you get told by men all the time, stuff like that, or you get hit on or catcalled, it kind of starts devaluing where you put pretty, beautiful, hot on, like, I don't know, and where it is in your life. Like, for me, when I go out, and like a guy's like, hey, you look hot, I don't feel good hearing that.
Right.
I feel annoyed.
Yeah, I would say let feeling pretty come from where you want it to. So like for me, it's like sticking with my skincare routine consistently, or like spending time out in the sunshine, or remembering not to be mean to myself, you know, and remembering to be really, really kind to myself, because I'm the only self I ever get, you know.
And getting sleep.
Yeah, sleep. But I think, you know, find out, like, if wearing makeup makes you feel pretty, then that's awesome. You know, if the clothes you wear make you feel pretty, then that's awesome. But it doesn't, like, have to be so, like, it doesn't have to be so valuable, I guess.
That's I think where it comes from, is like, I think we need to take the value off of physical appearance. But I also think it's cool to feel really good about the way that you look.
Yeah, you are pretty. Oh, that's hard.
Okay, someone asked, how do you get back up after hitting rock bottom without self-power? I guess that comes down to getting help.
Yeah, I think sometimes you really need help, and especially if it's what sounds like a mental health issue where that power can't be found within yourself, then it's totally okay to rely on the people around you.
Yeah.
Get help from them if possible. Get help from professionals. And don't feel guilty about needing help.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there a few different points in my life where I was like, I literally can't, like, just rely on myself to function.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, you know, your friends and family and therapists and stuff come into play.
And that does not mean anything's wrong with you. Unfortunately, we live in a culture that we don't have enough mental health awareness. We don't have even like almost a lot of people don't have a basic understanding of mental health. Even things just like depression, you know, like people don't understand how much that affects you physically, how much it drains your motivation, stuff like that. So knowing that, you know, unfortunately we kind of exist in a place that isn't kind to us when we're having struggles with our mental health, don't be harder on yourself if you're really struggling and you need some help getting back on your feet.
Yeah, it's basically asking for help at any capacity that you can. There's online resources too. Like, I would just say hit it all. Like, your friends, family, therapist, there's online counseling, there's support groups, like there's so much. Like, there really are resources, and I know it sucks having to put yourself out there and ask for it, but that's literally like the building blocks to getting you back up.
Yep. Oh, cool. Favorite part of Halloween? I love dressing up. I don't know, I never do that, but
Halloween to me is about the creativity.
I love the, like, spooky vibes.
Yeah. I like it because I feel like, you know, we live in such like a society that's so ruled by religion and, you know,
uptight,
just stupid shit, and I feel like Halloween is like the one time where that stuff doesn't fucking matter, like, universally, and it's really cool that we have something. I'm actually shocked that we have something like Halloween.
Well, it's cool that there's like mischief and like mystery about it, and it's like a nighttime focused holiday, and you know, it's not about some like greater phony purpose of like be good and Santa will reward you. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's cool because I just feel like it's creative. Like, any kind of way that you look at it, it's creative, it's different, it's so outside of the box.
Yeah, I love it.
How do you feel better when you feel depressed and lonely all the time? I feel like that's kind of like the one that we just answered. Like, if you're feeling like that pretty consistently or all the time, that's when, like, going to a therapist, that's the time.
There's therapy, you know, there's drugs that can help you depending on your situation and what you think works for you. You know, there's nothing wrong with needing antidepressants, just like there's nothing wrong with needing a therapist. There's nothing wrong with, I struggled pretty bad with depression, especially when for about a year straight of my life, I was working really early mornings. So I'd wake up at 3 a.m. every day, and then I would come home, take a nap, and then wake up at about 7 p.m. and be awake again until about 9. And like, just depending on what was going on in my day, but it just meant I didn't see a lot of sunlight.
That'll fuck you up.
I had to buy a UV light that was like a light therapy to help me kind of manage during that time, because it wore on me and made me really, really sad. So there's all kinds of different therapies, light therapy, and even within therapy there's different types of therapy you can do. And then there's psychiatrists who, if you are struggling to a point where you do need an intervention, or with if you need to be on SSRIs or something like that, you can be.
And working out can actually help a lot with
working out
that. But sometimes you get so depressed that you can't do that, and that's where it's like, if you're getting to a point where you can't function, that's the point when you go to a therapist.
Yeah, I would definitely say working out, even if it's just taking a 30-minute walk, like the minimum amount of exercise you need in order to help regulate moods and experience all the benefits of working out. 30-minute walk a day, that's all you need. You don't have to like go hard, do something crazy, sweaty, intense. You don't have to do anything in front of other people. Just going for a walk is so good for you.
That, and like a lot of our like chemicals that help us with like depression and mood are affected by our gut health.
Yep.
So what you're eating really, really actually matters. So like eating lots more fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
That's what's going to promote like a healthier like chemical balance in your brain too.
Yes. Yeah. And just know that we were talking about this earlier, actually. Like, I have experienced a lot of joy in my life. I'm content with my life, but I'm not. My default is not to be happy.
I'm so happy that we're talking about not being happy.
Yeah, like I don't just settle into a baseline of being like happy.
I don't think that that's actually. Like, we've read, in Sapiens, like, all the different books that we've read.
Right.
Humans are not actually designed to be happy.
Right. So all this kind of pressure to be like, think positive, be happy, gratitude, super important.
Yes.
Happiness or manifesting happiness, important. Manifesting what you want to achieve in life, power, positivity, all that, important. But I think a little misguided, because
that's just... Okay, best example you gave earlier in the car when we were talking about this. Dogs are happy all the time.
Yeah.
Dogs are very, very different than human beings. Like, the fact that we're so self-aware, that we analyze everything, that we know about, like, our existence and stuff like that, it makes us very different. And we're not actually designed to be just default happy.
Unfortunately, we're designed to be dissatisfied.
It's true. Like, we both have read this book, Sapiens, and it talks about that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to take in.
It's so good. Everyone should read Sapiens.
Yes.
So good. But in great detail, it describes why we feel very, very unhappy with like complacency, but why we also are not satisfied at all ever. And when we achieve the thing that we think will give us satisfaction,
it's so temporary.
Right.
And then we're right back to being like, I feel like I need something to be happy, because we're not supposed to just be happy.
That's our chemistry.
I think how we work. Striving to be like content-ish.
Yeah.
Is like, that's what I do, because like, I have very few times in my life where I can be like, I'm fucking happy.
No,
because a lot of times we think that we don't even know what happiness is. Like, people think that being excited and overjoyed is what happiness is, and they're like, that's what I'm going for.
But that's actually excited and overjoyed.
Those are short-lived emotions that you can't just live in unless you're high on drugs.
Right, exactly.
So I think understanding that, so then you can read through, like, kind of like, when you see all the shit online, that people are like, oh, just be positive and blah, 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 like all the fucking time. Those people are living in denial, because no one is actually just positive and happy all the time. Like, we need to be realistic about what being human is like.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think putting too much emphasis on happiness is, like I said, really misguided.
Yes.
Yeah. Flight anxiety. How to get over flight anxiety, having a panic attack. This is another one that kind of goes back to what I said earlier, where when I first started flying, it didn't scare me, and now it scares me.
Really? I'm the opposite.
Oh, when we were flying, my most recent like overseas trip I did, when we were flying over Greenland, and I was just looking down at all this ice, I was like, we're crashing here.
Oh my god.
This is where we die. Like, I was so sure. And then the pilot came over the intercom and said, we have a situation here, and I was like just waiting for the flames to like rush down the plane like a movie. Like I was, and I was just looking down like, this is where we go down, right here into the ice. I don't know why, I was just having so much spiraling anxiety about it. But I never used to. But again, I think I'm just like more afraid of dying now.
Man, I'm the complete opposite. Like when I was a kid and I used to fly up to Connecticut like every summer or winter, I don't fucking remember. But I used to have panic attacks that were so gnarly on the plane that I would have to be medicated.
Really?
And I was like 6 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Here, I know what you're trying to go.
I feel it. Yeah.
And it would bother me so much. I would be hyperventilating. My mom had to give me these like special like anxiety stuffed animals, and like
gosh.
It was horrible every single time. And then it stopped around the time I was 22 or 23.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what happened. I went from every single flight thinking that I was going to die to just being like, I just don't fucking care anymore. And that's how I am now, because I've flown so many times that I think that if I was like that, I don't think I could get through it.
I think when it's worse for me for no reason, it's just when I'm over like a body of water with like nothing around.
It helps to not look.
Yeah, I don't look. When I first started flying, I loved looking out the window. I thought it was so cool. Now I don't want to see it. I don't want to see the wing. Yep. I don't want to see anything.
I keep the windows closed. I don't look at anything, and I think that helps.
I do a weird superstitious thing too, where I always touch the outside of the plane every time I get on it. Yeah, because I'm like, I touched it. I was like, thank you, plane. Don't crash me into the ground to a fiery death.
Yes,
and
please.
That helps me feel a little more at ease with it too, even though it's like a dumb superstitious thing.
It makes you feel better then.
Also, just like sleep. I try to sleep on every single flight, and then that helps me get through it too.
How do you make friends when you work for yourself and work from home? I'm a licensed esthetician and massage therapist.
I can't answer that because I literally work with hundreds of people every day.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, like all of my friends that I have literally been in my life for so long. Yeah. That like I've never felt like a recent like burning, like I would really, need to go make more friends.
I know there's like meetup groups you can do. Yeah. So like I went to a vegan meetup group once in Atlanta, and it was fun. I know you can do stuff like that. It's almost like dating group things, but instead of dating, it's just like to meet new people.
Yeah, there's all sorts of meetup groups.
Book clubs.
Find them through social media.
I met some amazing people volunteering at a farm sanctuary. That was really cool. And they told me like, oh, we meet on this day, da da da. We have a book club, all this stuff. So you could instantly tap into that. Yeah. Also, join a gym that has group fitness. You can meet people there, and those people who are dedicated to their fitness are probably, awesome people to surround yourself with. Mm-hmm. So many people that I know now, again, I know from work, but there's a lot of gyms that offer classes, or there's gyms that are entirely group fitness. You can meet people there. So I think kind of getting a hobby that's kind of like a group hobby is a good way to meet people.
I think when you identify like what your interests are and what's important to you, then you go to those places to like partake in those interests, then you're always going to be surrounded by people that have the same interests as you. Like I like going to crystal shops, and every time I go there I'm talking to awesome people that are super into spirituality and crystals and stuff like that. So it's really just being like what's important to me, what are my interests, participating in those, and then finding people there. Yep. That's my best advice.
Agreed.
Best way to go about calling someone out on their bigotry.
Punch them in the face.
I think that if it's someone that you know, like you actually know, not just a stranger on the internet, you talk to them in private.
Yeah, I think so.
There's something, I'm sure we'll talk about this in a future episode, but there's something I really dislike about cancel culture. It's because it comes from like I've never made mistakes ever, I'm going to publicly call you out to ruin you thing. Right. Like, that's really fucking stupid and warped.
Right. I mean, if they're like really crossing a line, then and they need to be you need to intervene. Yeah. That's one thing, but
I think like most things can be discussed in private. Mm-hmm. And that's a really hard conversation to have, and that's why I also think it should be done in private.
Yeah. Yeah, and just make sure that you're safe in doing so, because
Yes.
if it's somebody exhibiting bigoted behavior, then maybe they are a real asshole, so just be careful.
Okay, so someone said, how do you deal with controlling parents and setting healthy boundaries with them? I've read about it.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries with any family member is going to be difficult. You're going to get the pushback, you're going to get the guilt trip, because you're changing the dynamic of your family structure when you do that. And especially with your parents, they have like a weird sense of entitlement to your life and, you know, all sorts of bullshit attached to it. I think it's to really clearly know what your boundaries are, because when you state them, you are going to get the pushback from them, but then you have to stick to it.
Yep.
And they will eventually get over it. And if they don't, then I don't know. Like, that's when you have to make the call of like, is my mental health more important to me than having these people in my life?
Right.
Like, it does suck. There's no like, oh no.
What?
Okay, sorry, I thought my nipple was coming out. There's no like super quick solution to this. Every approach you take is going to be really difficult, but when it's important to you in like maintaining your mental health, you just have to go through it. You have to.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. If you could be any characters from any movie, history, or book, who would you be and why? Oh my gosh.
Cleopatra. Done.
Done.
Everyone knows that already.
I don't think I definitely wouldn't want to be someone from history, probably, because I feel like history is worse than today. At least most of it.
I don't know. They might look back at today in the future and be
I would be like a fucking dinosaur, because then that would be cool.
I feel like I would love to be an assassin or a succubus.
Yes, if it's supernatural creatures, I would definitely be like a succubus would be really cool, or like fucking around in Greek mythology would be cool.
Yeah, fucking around.
Yes. I always have a hard time with like if you could trade lives with people, because I just all of that kind of makes me feel really weird.
Really?
Like I don't.
I think me too. I think the only person I've ever wanted to is Cleopatra.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Nobody.
This is such an important question. So how do I open it?
I think that's the whole thing.
Oh, okay. If I eat something kind of off, is it normal to smell a little weird or a little off down there, like garlic or pasta and stuff? Yes, this is completely normal.
Vaginas smell like vaginas.
This is so important to talk about, because so many people think that your vagina is supposed to smell like nothing, or
it should smell like nothing, or flowers,
or minty, and
yeah,
like all sorts of fucking weird shit.
No, it's
vagina smells
vagina.
like vagina.
Yeah,
it's an opening to your fucking body. Like,
yeah.
Why would that smell like flowers? Is it flowers? Nah. It's a fucking vagina.
That's what it smells like, and it smells different at different times.
We need to normalize vaginas not always smelling great, because things happen. Like, the pH changes of your fucking vagina. You eat a bunch of garlic, and yes, that does directly affect how it smells down there. It does. Like, your boyfriend's stuff can change your pH and make your vagina smell completely different. Like,
exactly.
Everything can change it and make it smell different.
Exactly. So lots of varying smells during your cycle, depending on what you've eaten, depending on hormones,
stress,
all normal.
Yes.
If it smells like foul and kind of sick, and you'll know what that feels like, go to the doctor.
Yeah, that just means usually
other smells,
your pH is off, or you have some bacteria, and then you take care of it. Like, it's literally no different than any other part of your body. It gets off, it gets a little weird, you just take care of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like there's lipstick on my teeth.
It's a body.
There's not. Okay.
Perfect.
So don't freak out. Eat garlic. Let your vagina get weird from it. It's your fucking vagina.
Let your vagina live.
How do you show that you're not the same toxic person you used to be, because people still see you as that same person?
I would say ask yourself if you have like outgrown those people, or are they the people that you like want forgiveness from.
Yeah, because it's usually one of those two scenarios.
Right. Yeah. So if you've outgrown them, I honestly wouldn't worry too much about what they think about you anymore. If these are people who are really important to you, who you want to earn forgiveness from, unfortunately, like, you are not in control of that situation, and they can take their time with it, and no, they're not required to forgive you. But all you can do is just kind of like be the better person that you've grown to be, and just stay true to that. And I mean, people, I hope, can be forgiving and come around. Again, like, we're kind of in cancel culture right now, which is shitty. I don't know, what would you add?
I just also think, like, you know, some people do have really dark pasts where they've done really, you know, unfortunately bad things. And if you've done something that, you know, people can't come back from, I would just say don't try to come back from it with those people.
Right.
Just accept it for what it was, a really dark thing that people aren't going to get past.
Right.
And move on to a new social group. Like,
Absolutely.
what else can you do?
Yeah. I'm people's bad person, for sure.
I'm people's bad person, I'm sure. But, you know, like, everyone is someone's bad person at some point. Like, literally every single person.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is so important, is like when you see people on their fucking high horse, you know, ranting about toxic people and stuff like that. Like, everyone is someone's toxic person.
Yes.
You have been toxic to people just like the people that you're shitting on. So,
yes, that's exactly right.
why do some girls have a fear of tampons? I have friends who are, I don't understand why. Tampons are actually really terrible for your vagina.
Yeah. A lot of tampons are bleached, have chemicals in them. People have found like mold in them.
Pretty much all the ones you can buy in the grocery store, like besides Whole Foods, are not things that you should be putting in your vagina.
Right. They can cause toxic shock syndrome, which you can die from.
Yeah. And the cottony fibers can dislodge from the tampon into your walls and start rotting.
Yeah.
I stopped using tampons, I don't know, like two years ago. I either do pads or I tried like the cup.
I use a menstrual cup. Sometimes I use a disc, which is like kind of a disposable version of a cup. And I stopped using tampons in 2012, and my periods have been such a better experience than they used to be. It's still painful, but tampons hurt me. They were really inconvenient. I felt like they were disgusting because I didn't like having like the gross string coming out.
And like towards the end of your period, if you're pulling one out and you're like not very like heavy with your flow, you can like leave little lacerations around your vagina.
Yeah.
So fuck tampons.
Fuck them. They're not good.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, I've been asked before, like, how are you comfortable using pads? Because people think pads are gross. I don't give a fuck what people think. Like,
I don't think pads are gross. I don't think period blood is gross. The thing that felt gross about tampons to me was like it made me feel really uncomfortable and like unhealthy, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would just say don't use tampons.
Don't.
If you have a choice.
What are you gonna be this year for Halloween?
I don't know. I mean,
no idea.
Not sure. I'll think on it. We kind of already have done Halloween. I've been doing like Halloween shoots like
forever.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Why our fan base is so scary? Because
obsessive people are scary.
I really, especially in the music community, I could talk about this for the rest of my life. I think that fan bases can get so unhealthy because it's a group of people that are placing way too much of their lives around other people that they don't even know.
Yeah.
Like your interests, like what you find acceptable belief-wise, how you want to look. You're like letting all of these things that are supposed to be your identity that you develop on your own, you're putting it on like someone or another group, and it keeps you in this weird bubble.
Yes.
Like a belief bubble.
Yep.
And so like then there's like fighting within the belief bubble, and I don't know, I just think it comes down to not having enough going on in your own life.
Yeah.
And that's why that's what I think hyper fans are. They're, you know, and I've been a hyper fan when I was younger, but it's not having enough going on in your own life.
Well, it's putting so much of your identity into something else as well, and then letting that be so tied to your identity that anything that challenges that feels really threatening, and you're like angry at it.
Yeah, like be a fan. I'm a fan of a lot of things. Like I'm a huge Muse fan, but like I don't sit on like Muse fan like communities and other posts and like try to like tell stories about the artists and stalk them online and try to get them to answer me in a tweet and like make everything about the musicians.
Nah.
why would I do that? My life's about me, not like
Yeah.
obsessing over people that literally don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. That's my best take on it.
When is a good time to plan for the apocalypse?
And that's the last one.
I mean, climate change is real, and we
Yeah.
are all gonna die, so start planning whenever.
Start planning like 15 years ago.
15 years ago is when we should have started planning. We've known about climate change for a very long time.
Yeah.
And
a very long time.
we didn't do anything about it, so it's really disappointing. Great job, human race.
Good job.
Real cool.
Well, the number one thing you can do to combat climate change as a human being is to adopt a vegan lifestyle. And
Yeah.
that's actually a fact.
Yeah.
Animal agriculture is like, what, 51% of greenhouse gases?
It's a lot. Obviously there's stuff that's really challenging. Like there's huge corporations that are like the major players who are not going to bend and they do not have the planet's best interest in mind or anyone's best interest in mind, but their own, and growing their already vast wealth. It's hard to make a dent in that. So what you can do as a personal choice, make that choice for your diet as often as possible. If you can commit to it full time, that's amazing.
Literally the best thing you could do for the planet.
Yeah, yeah. There's all kinds of ways to offset your carbon footprint, or just reduce your carbon footprint. Pay attention to your carbon footprint. Find out what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Lead by example, I find, is the best way to kind of have a circle of influence. Anyone who has become vegan because of me is not because I like preached it to them.
Yep.
It's because like I ate great food in front of them,
And you know what I think is really cool is they say that like for every person that goes vegan that 3 people follow. Well, my count's up to like, and this is people I know directly, so if anyone on the internet has done it because of me, that it's way higher.
Yeah.
14 people.
Yeah.
And if those 14 people had 3 to 10 people, like this is how veganism went from 2 to 6% over
It's like a
2
pyramid
years.
scheme, but good.
Yeah, like a couple years back, veganism was 2% of the population, and less than 2 years later, it became 6%.
Yeah.
That's massive.
It's huge. It's huge. So that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I know that wasn't necessarily like a serious question, but like we are planning for the apocalypse. Like it's happening.
We should
right
all
now.
be planning for it. It's very real and very much coming, especially if you're young. I'm fucking sorry.
Yeah, really sorry.
Well, that concludes our Halloween/question episode.
Yes.
We hope you guys liked it. We put about 10 hours into this today.
Yes. Yeah. So let us know what you think. We will most likely do some periodic Q&A episodes. This was really fun. It's great to hear from you guys.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who submitted questions, and thanks always for your feedback. So definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on any podcast player if you prefer to listen to the audio versions of the episodes. Spotify, iTunes. I use Pocket Cast. Like there's a bunch of different options. Yeah, so we made it to 10 episodes.
Holy fuck, and we remembered what episode it was.
Hell
from
yeah.
the beginning of filming it.
That's sick. I feel so accomplished.
I'm ready to be a mummy for the rest of my life.
I am this witch.
This witch.
This witch.
Yes.
From now on. All right, thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.